Hello everybody, how are we doing? Nice. All I'm going to say is 你好嗎? That's about all the Chinese I'm going to give you today. So I am Dr. Susan Ip Jewell, and I'm the founder and president of two organizations. One here you can see is AvatarMEDIC, and the other one is Mars Academy USA. And we are based in Los Angeles, California, United States. We're here today because we really want to show you the kind of work that we're doing, very innovative, cutting-edge technologies that we're integrating into our vision and our mission of being able to one day provide space medicine for astronauts in space, whether it's in low Earth orbit on the International Space Station, and then also to include the Chinese space station when that actually comes into fruition, but also for humans when we are going to permanently live on a planetary surface. And of course, in our lifetime, within the next 10 years or so, we're probably thinking of the lunar base, right? Permanent lunar base, and then deep space onto Mars and beyond. So we really are excited to also open up the conversation for possible collaboration and partnerships here in China for this Chinese Space Agency and, of course, the Chinese Science Academy. So I'm very excited to now introduce to you the CEO of AvatarMEDIC, who's going to actually go into a deeper conversation of the work that we're doing with AvatarMEDIC. So I want to introduce John Hanasek.
Hello, everyone. So AvatarMEDIC is a medic that's an avatar. We have a really interesting team of people who we're mostly coming from the medical background and the first response background. So these two surgeons on the right, Rafael Grossman and Shafi Ahmed, are world leaders in both traditional surgery, but also trying to integrate technologies like this kind of a thing, the Magic Leap, which lets you see holograms. I can still see you all, even though it looks like I can't. So we are applying these technologies to be able to scale out the hospital and the abilities of a hospital out to the very edge of the network, all the way out into potentially deep space, and of course geosynchronous orbit, and of course the Earth. So we've got a really interesting team with a lot of different expertise, AI, emergency medicine, sustainable development, analog astronauts, like Susan was just saying, where we actually go out into extreme environments and try and test whether these technologies actually work, because if they don't work, then what's the point? And among many other things. So basically we're offering, we call it real-time remote relief, which means just-in-time training for someone who doesn't know what to do. They can see what needs to be done by remote experts, and AI can explain to them what needs to be done. So that means a non-medical person or a person who has some medical training but they're not an expert can all of a sudden become very competent, very skilled through the use of these kinds of technologies, and even through the use of direct robotic intervention. So we target this platform to be useful on Earth and in space. So that means disaster relief on Earth and earthquakes, but it also means a medical intervention on a space station. It also means an astronaut that has fallen on the surface of the planet, or a micrometeorite has hit them, or something like this. So we're trying to pull together a lot of different technologies to make this happen. We're using artificial intelligence, obviously, because of the latency problems that are coming up with space communications. You all know this really well. You have to be able to have intelligence that's on board. We also want to use blockchain technologies because they have a lot of value for being resilient to you can distribute information in them. They're very resilient to losses in any centralized aspect. And they're very good at signing things, so you make sure that when you look at the data that a medical intervention has happened, that no one can tamper with it, or that it doesn't get distorted or anything like that. Of course, 5G, but also CubeSat networks are going to be really interesting to us. So 5G where we can get it, but we are creating a stack. So if you have 5G, but if you don't, you'll always fall back to the CubeSat, and then you can fall back wider to the Unicom that was just described, and things like that. So we always want to enable some communication, but again, to have that AI. The spatial computing stuff, like this is the Magic Leap, is a representation of the interface for this system. So let's say any one of you come across someone, a fellow injured astronaut, and there's some data coming in about what has happened. A virtualized hologram can appear for you of a different expert, different aspects showing you where to cut, where to stabilize, and all of this is directly located. So no screen, no simple comms, right? You actually get to see and feel haptics as well, what needs to be done, and then that lets the remote expert team understand what's happening, because situational awareness is really important. And then all of this keeps getting added. So those kinds of things are more possible to build now, and then we keep adding with robotics and UAVs, and in the case of space, different satellites and stations like that. We say biomimetic robots because we're actually in the ANA Avatar X Prize. If you're not familiar with X Prize, it's a $10 million prize that Peter Diamandis and his team, they do these different prizes. The Virgin Galactic launch vehicle, or excuse me, space plane vehicle came out of the first X Prize. A recent Lunar lander came out of another X Prize. And this challenge is to create a robotic avatar that can stream your presence somewhere else, and also then give you the sensation of being somewhere else. So we're in this prize with the focus on medicine because to be a proper expert, to help someone, you need to understand what the scene, what the environment is like, so that you can truly help them. So we've already been kind of conceptualizing this and playing with it in the Mars Academy USA simulations, where we go out into the desert and we run EVAs, extravehicular activities. So we conceptualize the system as being one where any number of remote experts can be watching what's happening in the field and be able to give advice and suggestions of what to do. But that advice isn't just something that is kind of in your ear and it's, you don't really know. It's spatially located using different hologram technologies, different sensation technologies, and potentially directly implemented through robotics. So this was really fun, by the way. If you guys ever want to do an analog astronaut simulation, come to Mars Academy USA and we'll get you in one. So, like we were saying before, we're utilizing quite a lot of different technologies and integrating them all together to create one holistic platform that would be able to deliver any medical intervention anywhere it's needed at any time. So we're serious about building a solar system-wide medical service. So the way that today you can call 999, 911, or whatever the other ones in different countries are, in the near future, you will be able to not even have to call, you will be being monitored, and an AvatarMEDIC aspect will assist you. That could be a direct robot, it could be your fellow astronaut next to you with extra help, it could be your own suit. We don't have any limits about what technology we will deploy. We only care about integrating all the needed technologies to save any life in space. So this NEMA project is really interesting. This is part of the ongoing work of Mars Academy to go out to Nepal and then Everest and then eventually Antarctica as well to do extreme austere environment simulations where we actually put this to the test and also put ourselves to the test so that we're prepared to think about creating a system that would work in space. We see space medicine in this AvatarMEDIC project as a fundamental enabling technology for deep space exploration with humans, and especially any efforts to want to live on the moon or live on Mars. That's why we're very interested in partnering and connecting with everyone. We want to make sure that our systems and our knowledge is integrated early, because we want to be there before people get hurt, not after, right? So when you want to live in space, you are facing a lot of medical challenges that you would not otherwise face on Earth, and then we can bring all this great technology back to Earth to help people. We already have some initial proofs of concept, even though this is a very early stage project. One of these higher ground was disaster planning. So you use spatial computing to show people where a floodplain is coming, and they can actually understand where the water is going, and then it shows them where they can go, so they can see where do I need to move to get out of the floodplain. This was an initial hackathon project. And this is software, we did this at an AT&T hackathon using IBM Watson, and this has turned into what is coming up as a product. It's called Avatar Rescue, and this is basically a chatbot that will guide you through triage. So you are able to go up to someone, and the software will help you walk through, check your scene safety, check if the patient is conscious, check their vitals, check, et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole protocol that has been previously established that we have translated into this app. And it will also have spatial computing component as these devices become more prevalent. And we have a customer base in industry where factories, oil rigs, different locations that are kind of analogous to space in that they are full of machinery, not the most human-friendly environments, but that where humans work nonetheless. So we will work with those customers to load in the AvatarMEDIC software into their industrial visors so that when someone gets hurt, well, if someone gets hurt, let's say, if someone gets hurt on the factory floor or any other area, they will immediately be able to assist. That means anybody, even if they have no medical training, can assist. We're working with some partners now, very interested in getting more. This list is growing. IBM is interested in what we're doing because we've used their Watson software. The Space Surgery Institute is a big collaborator of ours, and one of our team members is involved in space surgery in parabolic flight. So we get the chance to test some of our technologies and aspects in parabolic zero-G conditions, and we're getting connections to be able to test things in ISS as well, and can collaborate more with the different agencies who are, I think many different agencies are all working on space medicine in various ways, and we're trying to integrate all of it to create one coherent product that means you won't have to think about it. There won't be interoperation problems. There will only be the solution that you need. So please get in touch with us. You can see our website at avatarmedic.space. It's still very new, so there's not so much information, but we hope to establish a dialogue with you all, and we're very interested in connecting more with China and the Chinese Space Agency because of the relative newness among the expertise that the Chinese Space Agency has displayed. There's also the opportunity to build in the technology and the understanding that we have at the very beginning, so not having to bolt it on later, but which we could build in to a new space station, new craft, or anything of this kind, that it is prepared to help people, prepared to help astronauts, and especially this will be extremely valuable for commercial space. Space medicine is the enabling technology for letting us all go to space safely and conduct this beautiful science that we all love. So, thank you.
We still have time for a couple of questions. So, maybe you're being vague on purpose, but what exact kind of interventions are you thinking? Like surgery, or like just fixing injuries, or what?
Yeah, good question. Vague on purpose, right? Because the system will know every kind of medical intervention, but it will go all the way up to surgical intervention. It could be something, this is where it's intriguing, it could be psychological intervention, it could be bleeding control, it could be fractures, it could be surgery, it could be hemorrhage, it could be, there are many different problems that can go on with the human body.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So actually with Mars Academy USA, for the last 4 years, I'm a physician specializing in space medicine. So we work with a lot of the space medicine communities around the world. We like to work with China as well, and that's why we're here. So for the last 4 years, we're actually been able to develop protocols in teleanesthesia, telesurgery, for training non-medical personnel as well as medical trained professionals to actually conduct protocols, right, in surgery, basic surgical procedures, protocols in these austere environments that we deploy our crews to. So, for example, John had mentioned we actually deploy in extreme environments, like up in Everest Base Camp, because these are analogs of space, because there are some features about it that is similar to space, whether it's altitude, elevation, whether it's the extreme condition of the environment. So we're actually going to also deploy to Antarctica. So we have been doing this research for the last 4 years. This is what we're going to be integrating into AvatarMEDIC, because we have developed the protocols to be able to train the crews. These will be called analog astronauts. And then that's where we're heading towards. So we are a little bit vague here because we only have a certain amount of time to be able to tell you what we're doing. But if you're interested, we would like to have a conversation.
Come talk more. It's specific, but the whole idea is we're creating one system that solves all medical problems in space. You will not have time in space, if you're having a medical emergency, to fumble around with different systems protocols. You need one system that will save your life. That's what we're attempting to build, and we are already underway because we're coming at it from the medicine side. And if you have interesting technologies that you think could help solve the problem, we love to hear about it. Please, we want to.
Very nice, very nice. One more question. Okay, there's no question.
Can I ask one last question?
Yeah, sure.
What's the deadline for the X Prize?
It's 4 years from now. I forget exactly the date.
It's 4 years from now. So it was announced about a year ago by Peter Diamandis. He's the founder and chairman of X Prize, and also Singularity University. So our organization is based in LA and San Francisco. So we're right in the epicenter of exponential technologies and really cutting-edge innovation. And that is something I think makes us very different from a lot of organizations that are doing training astronautics, is the fact that we are pushing the envelope because we integrate exponential technologies in our research and in our protocols that we expand into. And we're not only just specifically in space medicine, we're also anything that involves human in the loops. So anytime that you have humans going to extreme environments, that of course is space, we want to ensure that we build in the countermeasures, develop the mitigation protocols to reduce risk, right? Anytime that you have humans, you've got to put them first, right? So it's so different from robotics. It's so different because when the robot's going down, there's some issue, engineering, we can fix it. But if there's something that happens to a human in space or in any austere environment, you better have that safety measure put in first place to mitigate or at least reduce, and to be able to provide the intervention if there is a medical, threatening situation that's occurring, especially with astronauts. We're thinking of putting them permanently on a planetary surface, the moon, right? So that is something that we're very much engaged in, and we really want to be able to push that envelope. So really, it's about several things. One, how do we develop this innovation, using these exponential technologies that are very pushing the envelope, cutting edge. Number two is, how do we not only allow humans to survive in space, but thrive in space? Because we really want to be able to, enable that vision of humans living on our world. So
yeah, very nice thinking. And then my colleague.
Thank you.
Picture of your Everest, and so they're showing there's a new topic here. So I think they will contact you to your web or to your email. Okay. Thank you again.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to the next.